Hi everyone, my name is Kate Motaung. I'm a Christian writer and speaker, and I'm here with my friend.
I'm Shannon, Popkin, and I'm a Christian author and speaker as well. And we're going to talk today about those times as a writer or a speaker or a ministry leader when you're talking about taking this step forward in your ministry. You're talking about maybe expanding or trying something new to broaden your audience, to grow your platform especially, and you're conflicted. Like, you're not quite sure, should I do this or should I not? Because I think sometimes we have great motives when we step forward in those situations, and other times our motives are tainted. They're selfish, right? And as Christians, we want to build our platforms and grow our audiences, and we want to do all of these things in a godly, Christ-centered way. So we want to give you a tool today for kind of teasing out what is God's motive for me in this situation. What does He want me to do, and how can I sift my heart and find, really the path to what God has for me?
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I think, as Shannon mentioned, it's so easy, particularly as Christians, to feel that burden of having a message that God has given you that you want to share, and yet feeling a lot of those fears and insecurities that come along with self-promotion and being perceived the wrong way or acting out of pride and selfishness. And so it's so important, we believe, to have some kind of tool that we can use as Christian authors and speakers to help us measure those motives and sift through them to determine, am I doing this from the right place or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, often we do have great motives when we set out with some new accomplishment that we're trying to achieve. We have really good motives, but those motives are sometimes tangled up with not so good motives, and it's really hard to even weigh our own hearts and know why we're doing what we're doing. We set out with a desire to give and serve, but then our desires get tainted with I want to receive affirmation, I want to get more status, and so this exercise, we believe, will help you kind of sort out your motives and untangle them so that you'll be more free to do what God intends for you to do. So we're going to have Kate sort of be our guinea pig, and she's going to share a situation, a fictional, right, situation, where she's trying to make a decision, sort of a platform growing decision, and we're gonna kind of use this tool so that you can see it in action. So Kate, give us your scenario.
All right, so I have a new book coming out soon that I'm very excited about, and I'm trying to find ways and places that I can share that message and reach a bigger audience with the book. And obviously I'd like to get some more book sales, as that's part of my purpose, but also I really just want to find people who will benefit from the message. So I happen to have a friend who is part of a committee that runs a Christian writing conference, and I think it would be a great place for me to try to be a speaker or apply to be a speaker at this conference so that I could find people who might be interested in the message of the book and share more about it with them. But I'm kind of nervous because I don't know how my friend will receive that application or my request if I email her and say, hey, what do you think about me being one of your speakers? It just kind of seems a little bit pushy, and I don't love putting myself out there like that.
Like leveraging the friendship, sort of.
Right? Yeah. I don't know that if she'll take it the wrong way and maybe think I'm just trying to use her position for my advantage. But I still think it would be a really good fit. So I just don't know. I'm torn. I don't want to damage our friendship, but I also don't want to miss an opportunity if this would be a great way to reach more readers. Yeah. What do you think I should do?
Yeah. So I think that's a perfect scenario, because Christians could do either and be following the Lord either direction. And so, we really need to sort out, what does God want you in particular to do? So we have this tool that we call the Heart Sifter exercise, and I'm going to share my screen and just show you a graphic that kind of displays this. So Kate's got two options. She has option A. Let's call that like reaching out to your friend on the committee, and option B would be like, no, just passively praying and hoping that God would, like bring you to mind as she's looking for speakers. So what we would ask Kate to do is take some time, and I mean like not just 10 minutes, like more like, maybe 45 minutes, an hour, and really think through these different motives on each side of that graphic. So on side A, talk about your reasons for doing that and against. Like what would motivate you to go ahead and reach out to your friend, and what would cause you or what would a negative reason be to reach out to your friend? And then on the other side, with the passivity, what would be a positive reason for you to be passive? And then what would be like some negative reasons that would cause you to be passive? So can you kind of just throw out a couple of things that come to mind? We would hope you'd take a lot of time to think through this, but go ahead and give us a few of your.
Okay, so I think for option A, reaching out to my friend, a positive thing might be, one reason that I would do it would be just to reach a bigger audience. It would give me, assuming my friend said yes, it would give me a way to reach a greater audience. It might be an opportunity for me to sell more of my book. It might be a way for me to network for future opportunities as well, if I could speak at that conference. Some negatives of me reaching out, I think there's always the risk of potentially damaging the friendship. It could seem self-promoting.
Yeah.
I know that's not a word, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
By reaching out, I would be exposing myself to the possibility of rejection as well, which everybody loves that. And, it might put my friend in a position of seeming like I'm taking advantage of her as well. So I think the negatives would largely be related to our relationship. And if I reached out and she said no, it might confirm some of my fears and make me give up in the future too. If I got rejected this time, I might just give up and say, I'm not going to try again somewhere else.
Absolutely. Yep. So then let's look at the other side, the other option of just passively like praying about it, and I mean truly praying about it, but asking God to orchestrate that. What would the positives and the negatives be that would lead you to make that decision?
Yeah, so I think if I just waited and didn't reach out to my friend, it would obviously protect the friendship and wouldn't risk damaging that in any way. It would also give me an opportunity to really rely more fully on the Lord and wait for Him to open the doors instead of me kind of going and knocking more actively on my part.
If the door did open, you'd be quite assured that it was the Lord doing that, right?
Yep. Right. And then some negatives, if I didn't, obviously I'd lose a potential opportunity. Maybe I would be letting my fears get the better of me and miss a chance to share this message that I really think the Lord has given me to share. And I might miss out on meeting other people who maybe I could be a blessing to them later, or vice versa. And so,
I just want to add one more to that top box of the being more passive. Like one reason that I could see being passive is like, then you don't have to deal with that anxiety, right? And just like, I won't do anything. And, and then I don't have to worry about whether, so I don't know if you exactly said it that way, but yeah. So we're hoping you can relate to her struggle in this, and maybe with the struggle that you have. I want to say that little graphic is available at shannonpopkin.com/influence. Influence is the name of our new book. So if you want to download it, or it's a pretty easy worksheet, you can make your own. There are a couple of examples. So let me just share, just in case you're like, I don't really know what this would look like filled in. So here's the blank one, and then we have another scenario. Open this next one and share this with you. Sorry guys, we don't do a lot with technology, do we? Or I don't. All right, so like at on my site, here's an example that you can, like, here's, working with an agent, working on my own, and you can kind of look through. This might prompt some ideas for you for your scenario. But the next step, I think, is so important. Once you have your heart just kind of emptied out on this paper, everything that would motivate you in each direction, and taking some time and asking yourself, okay, so what's behind that motivation? Like, what's really prompting that? And so anything then that is being prompted by fear or insecurity, or selfishness, right? The desire to self-promote, any false humility. Like, we have to really dig in our hearts and look for false humility, but it totally can be there. Or sense of inadequacy. Like, those things, I think we'd all agree, are not from the Lord. It would not be the Lord prompting us to make a decision out of fear. It would not be Him prompting us to make a decision out of insecurity, or out of self-promotion. And so what we do is, when we find any of those listed out motivators that have behind them, like this fear, insecurity, selfishness, what we do is we just cross them out with a big black marker. And so they don't exist. They don't get to help make our decision. They don't get to motivate us one way or the other. Those are crossed off, and we get to see what's left standing. And so there are the good motivators, the things that will really lead us. It frees us. It gets rid of all of the negative things that we need to clear away, clear out of our hearts, like recognize them, but those don't get to talk. They don't get to help us make our decision. And then we get to hear from the Lord on, like, okay, I'm going to move in this direction or this direction, because, and you know what, a lot of times you'll still have a lot of reasons in each of your 4 quadrants. You'll still have things that, you have good motivators on this side and good motivators on this side. But when you get rid of all the negativity, well, then you have, like, the clarity of your heart before the Lord. And I think you're just more equipped to make a godly, good, Christ-centered decision. What do you think, Kate?
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you for sharing that, because that's something I can use over and over again in this Christian writing and speaking life, when we are seeking to do the Lord's will, but often tainted by selfish and fear-based motives.
Yeah, and I mean, we live in a digital age where we do have so much autonomy over building our platforms. Like, we have everything that we need, like, for really minimal cost and effort to promote both our work and ourselves, and grow our platforms. And so I think we have more responsibility on our shoulders as Christians in today's age, to manage that well, and to not fall prey to selfish promotion, or like jealousy, or all of those other things that would crowd out what God really wants for us. So we hope that this has been helpful for you. Thanks so much for tuning in, and yay for the Breathe Conference. We're so thankful. Kate and I met at the Breathe Conference and actually presented on a similar topic, and that's how we got to be friends. So we're huge fans, and we love you all, and are thankful for the opportunity to talk today.
Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.